Okay, so get this, right?
Okay.
I am like scrolling online the other day
Mm-hmm.
and I see this vintage record player,
Mm-hmm.
and it is pristine, like seriously beautiful condition. And I almost buy it right there on the spot.
Oh, wow.
But here's the thing, I don't even own vinyl.
Like,
It was like pure impulse,
yeah,
that gotta have it feeling,
totally.
Which, funny enough, leads perfectly into our deep dive today.
Okay.
We're talking The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel.
Yeah, it's fascinating, right? We're really going beyond just the numbers.
Right.
It's about the why behind our money choices, how our brains are wired when it comes to finances.
So less about picking stocks, more about understanding ourselves.
Exactly. Housel argues that self-awareness is key to building wealth. For example, he talks about the power of compounding. But he goes deeper than just saying invest early. He breaks it down like with the rule of 72. Did you know about that?
Well, what?
It's this rule. You can estimate how long it'll take to double your money just by dividing 72 by the interest rate.
Oh, that's actually really helpful.
It is. And that highlights the importance of patience, something a lot of us struggle with.
For sure. So how does this book, Psychology of Money, tie into that?
Well, Housel talks about how we're wired for instant gratification, which makes resisting those get-rich-quick schemes so hard. He's got this one story, right, about this investor who freaks out during a market crash, sells everything at a loss, only to see the market bounce back a couple months later.
Oof, I can see that happening, like that fear taking over.
Exactly. Emotions can really sabotage our best intentions when it comes to money. Have you ever had that happen, by the way?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, hello, vintage record player. No regrets, though, right?
None at all. But that's precisely why Housel emphasizes having a system for making financial decisions, when we're calm and not letting our emotions run the show.
So instead of panic buying record players, we need a more, strategic approach?
Exactly. One of the first things Housel recommends is creating a budget.
Okay, sure.
But not just any budget. It has to be tied to your values, your long-term goals.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like, it's easy to overspend if you don't have a plan, but connecting your budget to your values, that seems kind of, I don't know.
Deep. Exactly. And that's Housel's whole point. He's saying a budget shouldn't be this restrictive thing. It should be freeing, a tool that lets you prioritize what matters to you. So, like, if experiences are more important than material things, your budget should show that.
So it's more about, like, conscious spending than just depriving yourself.
Exactly. And that leads into another big concept from the book, lifestyle inflation.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
It's that thing where as you earn more, you spend more.
Oh, yeah.
Housel compares it to like a hamster wheel.
I like that.
You're working harder, but you're not really getting ahead. You're just running in place.
Totally. I've been there, like, I got a raise, time for a new everything, basically.
Right. And then you're back to square one, just with fancier stuff. And Housel would say it's not about denying yourself nice things. It's about being mindful of the trade-offs.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like, are you sacrificing long-term security for a short-term thrill? He also reminds us that true wealth isn't about keeping up with everyone else. It's about having options, the freedom to live life on your own terms.
I like that. It's funny, thinking about it, this all ties back to his point about luck, right? You can plan and budget perfectly, but sometimes life just happens.
Totally. Housel acknowledges that luck plays a role, good and bad. He says even the most successful people hit bumps in the road, things you just can't control. But here's the thing, recognizing that chance plays a role can actually be empowering.
Really? How so? I think it would make me feel like I have no control.
It's not about giving up control, it's about being realistic. Stuff happens, markets crash, you lose a job, whatever. The key, according to Housel, is having a plan that can roll with those punches and not making emotional decisions when those curveballs inevitably come.
So it's more about riding the wave than trying to, like, control the ocean.
Exactly. Focus on what you can control, how much you save, how you invest, and, like we've been talking about, your own behavior.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So less about predicting the future, more about being prepared for anything.
Precisely. Now, I'm sure our listener is probably thinking, okay, this is all great, but how do I actually use this information?
So what can our listeners actually do, like, starting today? What are some takeaways from this psychology of money?
Well, Housel's got some great advice in there. First off, start investing early, even if it's a small amount.
Okay,
That compounding thing, it really adds up over time.
makes sense.
Like the sooner the better. You know?
Right.
Second, that budget we were talking about, make it happen.
Yeah.
And make sure it's aligned with what you actually care about, what your goals are.
Avoid that lifestyle inflation trap.
Exactly. And hey, maybe it'll help you resist that impulse purchase next time.
No vintage record players.
Nope. But seriously, third takeaway, have a system for making money decisions. We talked about how dangerous emotions can be.
Right, like when you're calm, thinking clearly.
Yeah, like take a day before a big purchase or have an investment plan so you don't panic when the market goes crazy.
Oh, that reminds me of that thing a Housel said about not checking your investments all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like you just freak out over every little dip.
Exactly. It's about the long game,
Yeah.
right? Focusing on what you can control.
Makes sense. So we're wrapping things up here, but I gotta say, this deep dive into the psychology of money has been really eye-opening. Like, I thought I was pretty good with money, but this really makes you think about the mental side of things.
It's huge.
It is. So to everyone listening, if you're intrigued by this whole psychology and money thing, definitely check out Housel's book.
It's a good one.
It really is. And that's it for this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious, folks.